Used to have some pushback, now it has suck back. Literally, he sucks them in. What's up guys, TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and welcome to a Season 4 breakdown of Heihachi Mishima, the Iron Grandpa. Arguably the most iconic Tekken character of all time, but for sure the most charismatic. In Tekken 7 he has remained incredibly difficult to play, he's always been, but he's been rather mediocre, not very strong, very flawed, and in need of buffs to be honest, and here they are. I'm very pleased to report he's gotten some really good stuff, but let's just get into it, shall we? And let's just start with his new attack, the Hooking Crescent Thrust. I gotta say, I don't like that name. Hooking Crescent Thrust. Compared to Fujin Uraken! Yeah, come on, one of those names has got a little bit more pow! But yeah, this is the back 3-2, the Hooking Crescent Thrust. And basically, you know, it's a 14 frame move, so you can use this as a 14 frame punish. You could use back 3-3. Now you can do back 3-2, you get plus 8, 34 damage. Plus 8 is quite a bit of frames, so for example, you can do down for 2, which is a safe counter hit launcher, should they try and challenge you there. You can do forward 3, which will trade with a jab and counter hit launch. There's a lot you can do, so as a 14 frame punish, it's pretty decent, but you know, outside of that, it is a high. -1, yeah, but with a lot of pushback. So I don't see anyone using this in the neutral too much. And here's where you can say, oh, that's high, but you can do back 3-3 for high mid and try and mix people up. It's just that, yeah, back 3-3 is -12 on block. So, yeah, as a punish, as an option in the neutral, he has way better stuff. But where it does come in handy and where you will see it a lot is as his new combo filler. Where we used to do CD4-4, 1+2, we can now do back 3-2 into 1+2 actually for 2 more damage. As you can see, this works. Does 2 more, that's great. But as it starts with a high, you need a high wall splat to be able to do it. Whereas the CD4-4 just outshines it completely in terms of utility. You can get a low wall splat, still go for this, and it has way more range, and it's so flexible as you do it from a wave dash or a crouch dash. So yeah, this is good when you can do it, but you'll still see this a lot of the time, you know, on low wall splats, because very often you'll end with something like that. And that's where you're going to want to do that dash into Hell Sweep. So his new move isn't amazing, in my opinion, but has some utility. And then a change is to his classic 12 frame 1+2 punish. Used to be -12 on block, and it's now -10. This is really good. This move is hard to punish as it's so fast, you know, 12 frames, and then you gotta react quickly, and then do the punish. This now being -10, it's gonna be real hard for people to punish, especially online. Even with the improved netcode, like, punishing -10 is difficult. Punishing a -10, 12 frame punish, yeah, it's gonna be hard. And remember, if you don't tech the knockdown, you get a guaranteed 4-4-2. So, this move got a big buff. It's really good as a panic move due to the speed. And then again, one of the absolute biggest buffs to Heihachi is forward 4. I mean, look at that. Used to have some pushback, now it has suck back. Literally, he sucks them in. It's this magnetic macho charisma aura that only a grisly, elderly, wrinkled Heihachi possesses. So Ford 4 already like one of the absolute best pressure tools in the game. If not one of the best moves in the game. This is a huge buff. Huge buff to Heihachi. Very nice. And then it's worth mentioning that they reduced the pushback on block on his rage art. It used to have this weird effect in, you see no pushback, this weird effect in certain ranges where he would do it and it suddenly got like huge pushback, and the opponent's punish just whiffed depending on the character and the punish used. So they sort of fixed that, and that's good. You know, if you fuck up a rage art, you should get killed, at least in my opinion. And then we're gonna mention about Raging Stance 1 and Raging Stance 2 both had like lowered hitboxes. It used to be a problem, like versus females, you do this combo, and the Raging Stance 2-1 there, the combo ender, post screw, would actually whiff, because it was a very high hitting mid, the Raging Stance 2. But this has been remedied, it's been fixed. So this is now a reliable combo on the entire cast, from what I know. And then we have his downback 2, another pretty nice buff. He's always had troubles with lows, Heihachi, always super deadly with the highs and mids, some of the best in the game. But his lows has always been lackluster, and this is what's been holding him back, really. You need good lows, to be honest, to be a very viable tournament character. But downback 2 has got a very decent buff in that it went from 23 damage, which already is very chunky for a low, now does 25 on a normal hit, and on counter hit that translates to a pretty huge 30 damage. And the frames have gone from +5 to +6. This is really good, but it still remains at 23 frames, a very seeable low for top players. Like the very top players you see in tournaments, they can see this on reaction, the animation, at 23 frames. Which is why Heihachi players in top level of play, they mix this with back 2, as they have similar animations. So yeah, this is a great buff, especially for like beginner and intermediate players, and in some players in high level play. But it's not something that suddenly gives him, you know, like the status of great lows will do well in tournaments. Absolutely not. It's still like too slow. If they made this like 21 frames in speed instead of 23, that would be enormous, but that would sort of go against his identity as well. It also has less pushback on hit, is worth noting. And now back 4, and this is again an enormous buff to Heihachi. This very strong, safe, homing mid knockdown is now a counter hit launcher. Yes, this is huge. This is, yeah, I can't stress enough how strong this is for Grandpa. Ha ha ha! 80 damage from a back 4. Huge buff, huge buff. And then we have back 1+2. Went from +2 on hit to +8. I guess that's great. Still pretty useless. Comes out at 17 frames. -9 on block. I mean, does have a follow-up. That's -13. Ah, this is still useless. And another great buff to his lows. And this is much bigger than the downback 2. They've made it so that, you know when you do his hell sweeps, you have a mid variation. I mean, it does a lot of damage if it's not blocked. So it's low and then mid. This used to be launch punishable at -16, so very risky. And now it's -14. This is a really, really big deal for his hell sweep mix-ups. This is a huge buff to his lows. And this one is really, really funny to me, this last change, because I used to love this thing with Heihachi in that if you blocked a low sweep, you know, that are all pretty much launch punishable. Your average Heihachi player would do while stunning 1 into Iron Hand, which is not super easy to do, of course, but still not optimal. If we block a big sweep, we want to launch. But the reason your average Heihachi player does this is because Heihachi has never had access to a dedicated while stunning launcher. Heihachi has always been extremely hardcore in this regard, in that if you really wanted the big damage after blocking, you know, one of these big sweeps, you had to crouch cancel electric. This is very, very hard to do. I mean, literally reserved for like elite Mishima players like me. And in tournaments, you know, you'd see most Heihachi players, even in tournaments, do this. As, you know, you're nervous when you play in tournaments, you don't want to fuck anything up. But Heihachi, JDCR, I almost called him Heihachi, and that would be fitting. Heihachi CR would always do this. It was so beautiful to watch. But then what happens in Season 3, they gave him this. And all that distinction is lost, and suddenly there was no difference anymore between your average Heihachi and your hardcore elite Heihachi. They would both just block a sweep and go for this, and it's so boring. It was just one of those beautiful things to watch in Tekken, in my opinion. But even so, Heihachi players complain. It's so hard to do the follow-up! Certainly, it's not hard to press free 1+2 to do this move, but the follow-up Hell Sweep pickup for the combo was pretty tight to do. With some practice, it actually wasn't that difficult. But boy oh boy did Heihachi players complain on Twitter. And they changed it, and now, almost as a joke, I think, they give you like 10 years to do the follow-up. 10 years. That combo. Did you see how long I waited? Yeah, that's a combo. Oh, some casual waifu. Yeah. I mean, to me, this is almost like the devs, the developers trolling these Heihachi players. Oh, you're too slow, are you? Can't do the hell sweep? Let's just give those fucking morons 3 seconds to do that hell sweep. I love it. So those were the changes to Heihachi. Some really good stuff for the old man. God knows he deserves it. And I'm very happy with the changes. I hope you are as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.